Good afternoon, Miami sports fans. Welcome back to the Miami Sports Break. We're here on a beautiful Tuesday afternoon here in South Florida. Going to talk about a wild national championship game that happened down here at Hard Rock Stadium last night in Miami. And I'm here, as always, with Jaccare Givens. And we have a lot to talk about. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of mock drafts now rolling into the off season for college football. And, of course, Miami Dolphins fans have a lot of interest in the players in the field last night. So, Jock, I want to say what's going on, bro, and get your early thoughts on the national championship game. I know it wasn't a very competitive affair, but we expected Alabama to put up a lot of points, and they didn't let us down for sure in Hard Rock.
It was, it was what I thought it was gonna be. I did think Alabama was gonna win, so I didn't see them. I didn't see 52-24. I knew it was gonna be a high scoring affair. I thought Justin Fields would, play a little bit better, but I didn't think he played particularly bad. I just think their defense just couldn't stop them. Then the Trey Sermon injury kind of derailed them from the
Right
jump.
away.
And then they had those injuries up front, so it kind of was they just at a disadvantage. Um, Glad that they all made it through the whole season, though. Ohio State, Alabama, it was a wild 2020, so to even get to a national title game was just a blessing in itself for those kids, and I'm proud of them. I'm proud of the NCAA, proud of how Ohio State and Alabama handled it. Kudos to them. Obviously, kudos to the GOAT, Nick Saban, winning his 7th national championship. That 2017 class probably got to go down as probably the best class he's ever had. He was missing 5 of those guys: Tua, Jerry Jeudy. Who else declared early? Ruggs. So that's a big thing there. But overall, I was impressed. DeVonta Smith is as good as advertised. Like I said, I still like Waddle over him.
I was going to say, I was going to come back. You still – so would you take DeVonta at 3?
Is Miami going – they're going to be forced to take him at 3. I know it's been reports that the Jets and all that. No, the Jets won't take him. It doesn't make any sense for them. They're going to get Penny Sewell and have 2 big bookend tackles, just as the Ravens did with Orlando Brown and Ronnie Stanley. They just doubled down, and I think that's what the Jets are going to do. I think Miami's going to have to take Smith at 3. I think it's him and Sewell is more of just a need at receiver than a need at offensive tackle. I think both kids are very special. So I'm for DeVonta Smith at 3. But I've been on the record saying I like Jalen Waddle just because he's more of what Miami needs on the offense. More explosive guy that can do a lot of everything. All the plays that you guys seen ran yesterday for DeVonta Smith, Jalen Waddle was running those plays early on in the season. And I feel like if he doesn't get hurt, I think he would have won the Heisman Trophy. I think that's a consensus. But Smith is as good as advertised. His body slender. He reminds me of Marvin Harrison, but he just does everything very well. I don't really know who you can compare him to. Some say Jerry Rice just with his, how smooth he is with everything.
Very fluid, yeah.
Yeah, how smooth he is. But like I said, the kid is amazing talent. I think Jalen Waddle's just more what Miami needs. But will I be upset with Smith? No. They're 1A and 1B for me. And I think that's great. I do want to, like, Sean Wade is another guy. I think Sean Wade has to go back to school. His technique was terrible last night. His motor skills. He's not cutting guys off at the point of attack. He's just giving guys free 2-way goals. And I just think him guarding DeVonta Smith was not fair. Just because of him, though, because his technique was terrible. So I know Smith made a lot of big plays. But Smith, I love his game. And I'm sure he's going to be in Miami. Now, the 18th pick, that's when it does get interesting for me. I would take another receiver. I don't know how you would feel about that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are saying, just double down with the Bama guys with DeVonta Smith and Najee Harris, who also had a great game. Obviously, 22 carries for 79 yards and a couple touchdowns, and another 7 catches for 79 yards, which you don't really think of him as a dynamic receiving back, but he can give you some of that out of the backfield, and that was really nice to see from him. But I was encouraged by the effort actually by Justin Fields. I got to give him a lot of respect. He didn't have a great statistical game, but he's been banged up since the Clemson game, and he toughed it out. I give him a lot of respect. A lot of respect for Jalen Waddle to really put in the time and the work on that 11 weeks to get back and get on the field. Obviously, he wasn't 100%. You could clearly see that out there. And I do
Still
agree.
faster than that. Still faster than everybody on one leg, huh?
Yeah, it's unbelievable how explosive he is. You just saw it in those small, bursts for him that he can definitely change things up pretty quick for your offense. And I'd be excited to see DeVonta Smith. I think he would be immediately wide receiver one, far and above anybody that Miami has on the roster now. And I think you could build around Tua if the Deshaun Watson rumors kind of just quell down and Miami just sticks with their guy, follows the plan with the draft picks. They accumulate this capital for a reason. So you have to look at the big picture for Miami. And I think that they're going to probably stay on course and keep Tua, give him a year to develop and give him an offseason to get fully healthy, put some Alabama weapons around him, and it'll definitely be a better performance for him. But I want to talk about for a second the Ohio State defense. They just had no answers for the Alabama offense. It made Mac Jones look like a Heisman Trophy. I'm going to let you talk a little bit here about what you saw from the Ohio State secondary, besides obviously the struggles of Sean Wade, what his problems were. What else did you see schematically that just left Alabama receivers running wide open through the secondary? We know Bama open is a thing. So talk a little bit about what you saw the breakdowns were in the Ohio State back end.
Yeah, it's just 2 years in a row where the NFL has come into college, and you just see it with Joe Brady running that NFL type West Coast system. You got Sarkisian with a similar West Coast system. They use a lot of motions and stuff like that, and that throws the defense off alignment wise, especially when you're in man coverage because it leaves you chasing around whoever you're guarding. So, for instance, on that DeVonta Smith, I think the second touchdown where he ran fake jet, came back with the motion, came back across. The defender just couldn't get there because he was in man coverage. He overran it, and and then on the third touchdown when he was running wide open down the pipe, there was in some type of zone coverage I don't understand why with leaving the linebacker one on one down the seam with Smith on a pipe right up the seam. It just was unfair. They ran him on a cross. There was just a lot of bad coverages, and I just think that NFL West Coast system in college works a lot because it's a lot of disguise, a lot of eye candy, a lot of motion, a lot of things. And I think Ohio State was more committed to stopping the run than they were stopping the passing. This has not particularly been one of the stronger Ohio State secondaries. They are normally very, very well coached in the secondary, but I just think that they never got it rolling this season. They tried to mix up the zone, the man coverage, but when you play a lot of man coverage, it does hurt you in those type of schemes because you're looking at guys, with that motion. Motion is hard to stop. That's why you look at Sean McVay's offense. It's very, very hard to stop. Just because all the motion he uses, West Coast system, good, quick, short routes, everything short and crisp. Everybody running wide open. So it's the second year in a row that you've seen an NFL scheme go into the college game and the offense cannot be stopped. This is second year. So Joe Brady, and then you got Sarkisian with that West Coast system that just leaving like it's just impossible to stop. And it's hard for college kids to adapt to that because it's too many mental lapses when you're seeing stuff like that. The route concepts. Alabama does another thing well, not getting their receivers jammed with all the motions, the bunch formations, stuff like that. So it's just a
And they're
lot,
even
though.
I was gonna say they're even telling you like they're putting DeVonta Smith in motion. He's gonna get the ball. So that was kind of like really sort of predictable. But Sarkisian just puts him in motion, puts him in space with the route concepts, with Harris out of the backfield, and then springing him down the seam. There's just a lot of different things. And want to say what's up to Rob and Hollywood and Mike for getting on here and commenting with us. Yeah, Smith and Waddle with Tua. I mean, my goodness, it'd be
I,
Alabama South here
I
for sure.
I agree with Joseph there, just because I think if Waddle's at 18, you're talking about a guy with Tyreek Hill type explosiveness. And you add that even alleviates the pressure of you getting a running back, just because
Mm-hmm.
you can do so many things with him. And I am a proponent. Like I was saying in the group chat last night, I love Najee Harris' game. I like him. I think he's a great back. I think he's probably the best back in this draft. But his running style does not relate in the NFL because he does not run as hard as he should for his size. If you're looking at a guy that's a DeMarco Murray comparison, if you watch DeMarco Murray, you see Najee Harris, good feet in the hole, and then what was their
Good
biggest
vision
flaw?
for a big back too. He
Yeah.
bounces things outside. He's got good vision. He doesn't get caught up in the wash in the middle of the offensive line. He's
So
able to bounce it out, and he's got enough wheels to get on the outside and involve in the passing game. But here's my thing: is like I agree. I think you double down maybe with the receivers. If you could get Smith and Waddle in the first round, and then Aaron Jones, you throw the bag at him in free agency. Let's go. I mean, basically, you got a top 5 running back, a Heisman Trophy wide receiver, a wide receiver a lot of people thought was better than him before he got hurt, and
well,
you've got
no, a lot of
you've got
people who
his
thought that
college
he was
quarterback.
gonna win the Heisman, Desmond Howard, Ryan Clark, or both on national television saying, "Hey, this guy is gonna be the Heisman Trophy winner." I picked him to win the Heisman just because of his talent. So you double down with that. Miami can really do no wrong, to be honest, because if you get Sewell in the first,
Don't take Sewell though. You can't. You can't.
if
It's all Jake Long, Tunsil,
hypothetically,
Joe Thomas.
hypothetically, hypothetically speaking, if you take Sewell, you have enough ammunition to trade back up into the top 10 or the whatever pick you may be at. Because DeVonta Smith, if he don't go
He
3,
doesn't make it past like 5 or 6. I don't know the
no,
exact order,
he's
but he's
gonna
not
go
going to drop.
if he doesn't go 3, they're gonna get the Eagles are gonna draft him at 6. It just makes
Yeah,
the
he's not
most
getting
sense.
past Philly at 6. No way. They need weapons real bad. I mean, but I
I
don't know.
know,
I'm not the left tackle
and
draft guy. I mean,
listen, and I see CK, like I seen CK tweeting, "Oh, you don't draft a guy who hasn't played in a year and a half." He didn't need to play. It was no value of him playing. No value.
Waddle,
No, it was no value of Sewell playing
Sewell.
this year.
Yeah, yeah,
Why he playing a coach? They played 5 games this year. What was that gonna hurt his stock? It was
yeah.
gonna hurt. It was gonna hurt him more than help him. The guy's a natural left tackle. If you draft him at 3, you get him. He's only 20 years old, by the way. Let's throw that
Yeah.
out there. You
Another
got
Austin
20-year
Jackson with a higher upside, obviously.
Jackson's another guy, 21-year-old guy. You got Jackson, Sewell, 2 bookend tackles, right? You still at 18, and you got enough draft picks to trade back up to get whatever receiver you want. It does not matter. Draft picks don't mean nothing unless you hit on them. And I'm gonna keep harping on that. You can load up
I
on
mean, I
all
get
the
it.
you
I
can
get
load
it.
up
But
on all the draft capital you want, but if you don't make great picks on that draft, it does not matter.
do you think Miami's offensive line is good enough to where if you put in a Smith, a Waddle, and an Aaron Jones, you got a top 10 offense, like almost from immediately. Then you maybe supplement with an Allen Robinson or somebody. You got the money. You bring in all these dynamic players on rookie contracts, or you even go DeVonta Smith and Najee Harris and Aaron. I mean, there's so many different ways you can go. I mean, I don't think you would draft Harris and then get Aaron Jones, but
I
you know what I'm
think
saying? There's so
I
many
think
different things
I
you could
think
do.
E18 is more of a fit for Miami's offense
Yeah,
than
better out of the backfield receiving. I
because
think a little bit more dynamic.
Najee Harris is okay. It's 2 different type of pass catching backs. You got the Alvin Kamara's of the world who was legit running routes out the backfield, Christian McCaffrey, stuff like that. And then you got guys like Najee Harris, he can catch the
Zeke.
ball. You can throw him the ball out the backfield. He's not gonna route anybody up or nothing like that. But you can throw him screens, little wheel routes, stuff like that. Design automatic design running back routes out the backfield. You got guys like McCaffrey and Kamara, who's legit running NFL receiver routes. Le'Veon Bell in his prime doing that stuff. So
Le'Veon Bell kind of set the mold for that style of
so
back.
Etienne, the only thing he struggles with is he doesn't have the best vision in the world, but he's explosive.
And
He
he can
does
pass
get
protect. I think his pass
and
protection's okay. He's a 3-down back. I mean,
yeah,
he's one of
he
those
can
guys that comes
and you
in.
can throw him the ball out of the backfield. I do think he has enough wiggle in him to run some routes out of the backfield. So I think Etienne is better. He's more explosive. But I mean, you can't go wrong with either of those guys. But the biggest need for the Dolphins right now is who the hell gonna be the offensive coordinator?
Yeah. Well, you saw what an offensive coordinator can do to a quarterback like Mac Jones. So imagine taking somebody with Tua's ceiling and giving him that same kind of play calling and just kind of take the wheels off the offense and take the training wheels off of him and really let him develop in a system that's going to be advantageous to his growth. And I think if you bring in a DeVonta Smith at a minimum, you give him that familiarity with somebody that he knows that comes in. And you know one thing about Bama wide receivers, they come in NFL ready from
Yeah,
day one.
they all can run the route tree.
They're
Yes.
all polished and pretty much ready to run day one. Some of them have struggled a little bit. You see with injuries and other
Well,
factors.
Ruggs is the only one who's struggling. Jerry Judy's
Yeah,
struggling because of the damn quarterback he playing with.
yeah.
His shit
No,
is
Judy's
terrible.
going to
Drew Luck
be
is bad.
another good one, but I think that you get a DeVonta Smith in there and somebody else on offense in the first round, and
And
then
another guy that Miami who looked good last night was Olave. Olave had Josh Jobe and he was out there going bad. So who goes receiver? Well,
he said
Smith
it
was the
doesn't.
only
You wouldn't
guy.
double down. I mean,
Smith, you got Smith, and obviously Waddle at 18. I think Jamar Chase may drop, but hey, I mean, if you can
depends on
get
his
Chase at
combine.
8, if you get Chase at 18, then that's a different story.
Yeah, but I also think maybe you even go with somebody like a Rousseau at 18. I think he's a good value at 18 on the defensive line
Yeah, on the
because you
D
need a
line.
pass rusher, and he could develop into that one-on-one pass
Yeah,
rusher.
the
He
only
has the
thing,
physical tools.
yeah, he got the tools. The only thing with him, he doesn't. I don't know if he has real pass rush moves. I think he was mostly winning off athleticism last year, but we'll see how he develops. He has been off a whole year,
Hmm.
so you never know. He could have been working with a great D
Right.
line coach. So you just those guys. But
He has a high floor, Russo. I think he has a very high floor. He can come in and contribute right away, as a young guy and develop into somebody that can really be a cornerstone of your defensive line for a lot of years.
I'm
I think
not
that'd be
like
intriguing. I wouldn't
I
be
don't.
opposed to him at 18 at all.
Like I tell people, I don't care about these kids sitting out, man. Do what's best for
No,
you.
do what's best for you. I mean,
Like
this is
it's no point. It was Parsons, Sewell, Russo. Like it's no point of going to play a 5 game season, tear your ACL, and then what are you gonna tell me then? Like, oh, he should have played. That shows him. Nah, man, that shows toughness. That's dumb. You already solidified you as a top 10 pick. Sit out. What do we?
yeah.
This season had nothing to gain for those guys. You look at LSU, how bad the offense was. Chase would have been playing. It would look bad. Now Terrence Marshall, on the other hand, made himself some money
Hmm.
because he was the number one guy.
Right. And you see guys coming back, and you look at some of the Hurricanes like Mike Harley coming back. He's going to really help his draft stock, I think, with hopefully Derek King being healthy back there. You got Jake Garcia coming in at Miami. So some of these guys are definitely helping themselves by
Also with Tyreek Stevenson, I'm almost 1,000% sure he's gonna go to Miami. The cornerback from Georgia that just entered the transfer
yeah,
portal. I'm
that'd be a
almost a
big get.
thousand. I'm almost 1,000% sure, and you can. I think Barry Jackson reported it first about the interest, but
Yeah,
you can mock us down from reporting. The kids going to Miami.
they need that. They'd have a good top four cornerbacks in
Yeah,
Miami.
well, Ivy, Blades, him,
Couch.
and
Hmm.
Couchy. So Stevenson will be in Miami. I can probably go out. I'm almost for certain he's going there. So um, I don't. You heard it here first, as in I'm predicting he's going to Miami. But I think everybody was on top of that. Barry Jackson, Manny Navarro, who was on the Six Ring Kings the other day on our special show. So you can guarantee. I think Stevenson's going to be there. I'm also I want Wiggins to move the defensive back too, but I don't know if he's gonna do it. So
Yeah, well, those guys had a lot of issues in the Miami wide receiver core, but I want to just go back to a
Well,
second.
I don't think Caldwell. Miami kind of kicked Caldwell out, so I don't see Caldwell coming back at all.
No.
So that's out of the door. Hey, but if Pitts fell to 18, yes, you take him.
Yeah,
That's
he'd be
common
pretty
sense.
dangerous with Gesicki. I mean, you're kind of doubling down on something. You have pretty good tight end one in Mike Gesicki, who you've seen the development. I think he maybe takes that next step and starts to enter in that top 10 tight end conversation. Yeah, Pitts would be great at number 18 for sure. Also, you can't have too many weapons on
You
offense.
take Best on board, and Pitts is a bona fide receiver. You can line him up in the slide. You can do a lot with him. So you guys just get pressed.
You can move him around a little
I
bit.
do want to ask you. I want to transition over to the Miami Heat. They have enough people to play as they tweeted. So, what is your thoughts on the whole thing that's going on in the NBA? You kind of you can't be upset because these people still are trying to live their life. I know it's a lot of downtime probably when they're traveling from city to city, but what is your thoughts on Miami and where they're at right now, especially with this whole outbreak thing that just happened for them?
No, I think Miami's going to be fine, and just the NBA has kind of already seen that they're able to mitigate these things and sort of navigate it. But it's not a good look early in the season. I think they've got to nip this in the bud now and maybe make some tough decisions early in the season before you get to March, April, and things you're really having to reschedule things and logistics become a big challenge. But I think the Heat are gonna probably be very, very cautious and just run out who they've got and just follow the protocols. And
Do you think that the NBA is going to go back to a bubble?
I think for the playoffs they probably will. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you just got to get to the playoffs and see. But it's the only way that you're going to keep these guys definitely safe. It's the only way. It worked. The bubble worked. So
Yeah, but you're asking these guys to go back and do the bubble all day. Like that's kind of was tough on them mentally. Like, come on, man, these people were talking about how they hadn't seen. Like, that's tough, and I just like COVID-19 is just a sticky situation because you got guys who probably playing with the virus right now who like
mhm.
they're playing in NBA games, but they tested negative but test positive the next day. So
Yeah,
it's just a tricky.
asymptomatic spread is something to obviously be concerned about. And Miami, this might be the all offense, no defense lineup if they got like Hero, Duncan Robinson, Olenek. It could be tough.
I'm gonna let's read who's all out for the Miami Heat right now. Cause I think it was I know Jimmy Butler's out.
Well,
I know but Jimmy Butler's out. Who they play today? I think they play
is
the
it
70s. Yeah, they
Philly?
play
Yeah,
at the 76ers. So no. Yeah, so a lot of those guys are out. I just you can't. It's just funny, man. Like the NBA, I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna make the players take the vaccine because I think they were prioritizing the elderly and the healthcare workers first.
as they
So
should, honestly.
as they should.
I mean, this is obviously
So
big business and these guys'
Bam,
livelihood, but
Bam, Bradley, Butler, Dragic, Mo Harkless, Haslam, Nunn, KZ are all out due to the health and safe protocols.
so it's 8 guys out. So yeah,
Yeah.
they're running thin. So it might be Gabe Vincent season, it might be precious time. So it might be double doubles
And
across the board for
I'm gonna be
everybody.
honest. I'm gonna be honest with you. This actually helps certain teams, especially young teams who got players. These guys get early run minutes, pressure. Obviously, when it comes down to it, the NBA is gonna do what's best. They're probably the best league at it. But you also got to get an NFL credit because they've done everything they were supposed to do to get to this point.
You got through the
Um,
season, the
you
NFL. I
got through
mean,
the
it was
season.
looking dicey there too for a while.
Yeah, so you can't be upset. It's just it's a situation we can't control. So
Yeah,
let's just call
exactly.
it what it is. Um, one before we wrap things up, Dave. Biggest questions right now. Miami, what's more likely to happen? Watson to the Dolphins or Harden to the Heat?
Watson to the Dolphins. I don't think either one is going to happen, honestly. But if I had to put odds on it, I would say Watson to the Dolphins. It's more feasible. You've seen, obviously, these teams have worked together in the past. I don't think they're going to quite get fleeced like Bill O'Brien did in the Tunsil trade, et cetera. But I think if you had to say one was more likely than the other, I'd have to say Watson to the Dolphins. And I think that Miami has the assets to whereas the Heat, you really look at, they'd have to give up so much to get James Harden. I just don't think that they'd want to part with, most of their roster to pick up James Harden. So
I
what
will
about you?
say, I think I agree Watson to the Dolphins. I will say I think Omar Kylie on Ethan's show this morning was saying that the biggest threat to Miami if Bieniemy goes to the Jets would be the Jets trade for Deshaun Watson, because they're pretty much in a similar position as well, where they'll be having they'll have the young quarterback of the future they can trade. They have multiple draft picks with the Jamal Adams trade, so the second pick and the 22nd pick, and then they will surrender those picks. But if I'm Miami, I'm not letting that happen. And I don't like just because it's too much. Like you can't let him go to the Jets. You're already in the division with Josh Allen. Then you're gonna let Deshaun Watson get there, and then the Patriots are gonna rebound and get a quarterback, whether it's this year or they're gonna get that guy from Clemson because they can be in that range in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot they have to do. So I think that Miami should make that deal just because Watson just puts you over the top. So
Yeah, I think he's definitely somebody you got to look at for the near future. And if it's a possibility, you definitely got to kick the tires on it. But I'm happy to see him roll with Tua. We got the draft capital. It's been talked about for a couple of years. The plan, Miami's putting the plan in process. Did they tank? They didn't tank. Whatever. They reset the roster. They reshuffled the organization. They seem to have one vision. It's a cohesive plan with the Dolphins. There's no Adam Gase sideshow. It's a well-run organization. It's
and
it's an
that's
organization.
and for the longest, it's only been one rail ran organization in this whole thing, and that was the Miami Heat. But now the Marlins seem like they know what
Mhm.
they're doing. You got the
Right.
Dolphins who know what they're doing. The Panthers, to an extent, know what they're doing. So
I think it's a bright future for the Dolphins, and I was excited to see the national championship here at Hard Rock Stadium. Very few venues put on a big game like Hard Rock, and hopefully we're going to see more of those big games for the Dolphins, home playoff games, and get fans back in the stands, get everybody vaccinated, and everybody safe out there. And hopefully 2021 is a lot better year than 2020 for a lot of reasons, and a little bit of normalcy in the world would be one of them. So want to thank Jock for getting on today for the Miami Sports Break and for everybody for watching and engaging with us. We always appreciate the comments for everybody. So keep those rolling in and make sure to follow us on social media. Hit up our Instagram page. We got a lot going on there at MIA Sports Break. And you can find Jaccare at King Jock 24. And of course, myself.
I might be retiring that Twitter name soon, man.
Oh man, stay tuned. We got to see what's next. I'm curious. We'll talk about that off the air. So, want to thank everybody for catching up with us today, and we'll be back on Friday afternoon with another show to recap everything that's going on